And I've heard a lot of men make the argument to me over the years that, now, haha, look at you, you stupid women. You all have to fight for women's spaces, but this serves you right because you took men's spaces. You took over men's spaces, you entered into men's spaces, but also you won't let men have man only spaces. Ergo, this is your karma. Suck it.
Well, it depends because some of those shouldn't have been man only spaces, right? I mean, some of those Wall Street or, well, being doctors and lawyers, right? There's no reason that qualified women should not have been able to do that. Those were artificially skewed toward men. And maybe there was then we need to open them to women, which Helen Andrews would say was social engineering or artificial, but it's not like they were naturally for men. I mean, I guess she's arguing that that they evolved that way, but also women didn't have a say. So maybe they do need their spaces back, but what are the spaces that men are not allowed to have that what do they want back?
That's what I'm always wondering. I was always, when men first started making those arguments to me, I was always quite confused because I was like, which men's spaces are you talking about? What are these men's spaces? And eventually it started to come out as some men began to respond to me that it was the workplace, universities, and sometimes they'll offer up men's change rooms or in bathrooms, and I'm like, women are not clamoring to get into men's change rooms and bathrooms, first of all, but second of all, that's among the worst of these arguments, because the reasons that women don't want men in their change rooms and washrooms is not just for privacy's sake, although that certainly matters, and it matters for boys and men too, sure, but primarily it's because of danger, and because they don't want predatory men committing sex crimes in the washroom, which would be exactly why a man would be in the woman's washroom. Like a woman's not going into the men's washroom to commit a sex crime. She's going into the men's washroom because the line for the women's washroom at the sports event or at the club is hours long and she doesn't want to, pee her pants.
Yeah, I am often the woman just barreling into the men's room, trying not to pee on myself. But
I mean, there's some, it's like, the workplace complaint, I think, gets to me because, and this aspect was referenced by Helen Andrews in the article, and she talked about it also on Megan Down's podcast. Yeah. And she talks about how, some male-dominated workplaces suddenly had to get rid of pinups, like pinup posters. To me, I'll just call it pornography. Yeah, at the workplace, because women started entering these workplaces, and then it was considered sexual harassment. And it's like, of course, there shouldn't be pornography in the workplace. Like you're talking about, lockers on construction sites and in the, firefighters, policemen, like those kinds of contexts. I've heard about this often where women entering into these workplaces felt really uncomfortable because there would be porn in the workplace. And, it's not professional, but it's also totally unnecessary. Like there's I don't know what the defense would be for having so-called pinups or, like your ripped out page from the Playboy, I guess would have been in the 80s, right? In the workplace. I don't know what that takes away from exactly. Like that should be sort of a private habit if you're going to have it.
Although I guess that was bonding. I mean, I guess that's what they missed. Like that was some kind of language they all spoke. But I was trying to think, like, what is the, should a woman suck it up and not be bothered by it? That would be a great skill. Should if she goes to HR to complain, then yeah, I guess that's tattling. Should women have gotten purchased Playgirl and ripped out the centerfold and put that up, and would the men really wouldn't like it.
No, I don't think they'd like it because they'd think it was gay, like they were being exposed to gay stuff, right?
Yeah.
They would have to look at another man's naked body,
But that
sexy naked body.
I wonder if anybody did that, because I feel like that would be so awesome. I mean, that's like pornography with pornography. I don't know. I feel like I wish I were more male typical in some ways, because I am very prone to conflict and disagreeable, but I'm also like, I definitely am not rational. I mean, what the fuck? Men are what rational men do I know?
I don't think that men are
John
more rational than women. I think that's a
I've
totally
met, like,
bunk
3
argument.
rational men. And I think a lot of men are very pissy, and they think they're being rational, or they're just pointing out their studies, but I sense the emotion boiling underneath. I mean, just because you only have 3 emotions doesn't mean you're rational.
No, I think it makes you more irrational because you're not really able to express in a coherent way what you're thinking or feeling, or why you're feeling frustrated or mad, or why you're being so stubborn in your arguments, or whatever it is, right? Why you're shutting down when challenged, and you can't have, like a conversation about your emotions, which would be something a woman would want to do. I will admit to, I really love having conversations about emotions. I could do that for hours and hours on end.
All day
no
long.
problem. Yeah.
Yes.